Okay.
For almost 100 people with us, and I apologize to all of you because of some technical glitch. We were delayed. Go ahead, Uriel.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, well, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to be able to give this presentation to you this morning. Morning for me, at least, here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This presentation will take approximately half an hour, so I hope we will have some minutes for some final discussions. And I want you to know that I will ask you some questions. I will pose some questions, and you will need to answer those questions using your smartphone or your computers. So be prepared for that, and I will tell you how to participate. So let's begin. My presentation is about, the title is A New Engineering Education for a New Era, and I will share with you some ideas about how to improve our students' learning by adapting our teaching methodologies to the Generation Z. So the agenda of this presentation, I will begin with a very short and quick presentation for those of you who don't know me. Also an introduction to the term Gen Z and its meaning. And the first question will be, we are teaching, are they learning? And then we will share some challenges we are facing ahead, some clues to follow up, and a spoiler alert, there are no magical solutions. So thank you for your participation, and let's begin with the presentation. Well, very quickly, this is my presentation. I will not read everything. You can read by your own. I'm a part of the National Technological University in my country for more than 35 years, also working with Lueni Morel in Nova Hayed, also a very active member of IFIS and some other positions in some honorary positions in some universities in different parts of the world. So let's go to our topic today, and let's begin explaining what does Generation Z mean. According to this dictionary, Generation Z is conformed by the people born in the late 90s and early 2000s. And we have here different definitions, but most of them are referring to people born in the 90s and from then till today. So we may agree that we are speaking about people under 25 years old. So we are speaking essentially about our students, our undergrad students. Having said so, we can assure that generations are shaped by the context in which they emerged. And looking at this picture, this graphic prepared by McKinsey, you can see how the historical context in each case has shaped the different generations. And particularly Generation Z is shaped by these three things: mobility and multiple realities, social networks, and of course these people are digital natives. So we have to acknowledge that we, the professors, most of us are part of Generation X. We are digital immigrants. We are, of course, very competitive, in most cases, very individualistic. And when we were young, the rules were established by our parents. But this is really different for our students today. Those included in the Generation Z, they are, and allow me to use this neologism. They are technoholics. This means that they are permanently using technology, as you may agree. They are communaholics, which means that they live in communities, not only real communities, but particularly virtual communities. I mean, in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on and so forth. And they are career multitaskers. They tend to change their jobs frequently, and they are committed to do what's right. And this is essentially very different from our own generation. They are committed with you know, with these initiatives related with peace, with the green world, with environment, and all these kind of things, with minorities and all these kind of things. So what I'm pointing here is that they are very different from us. And just to emphasize this, I want to share with you this report prepared by Dell Technologies, which included a very important number of students, of people from all over the world, 17 countries, and more than 12,000 students from high school and college students. And the report is very interesting. I invite you to read it, the whole report, I mean. But I will share with you some outcomes, some particular outcomes related with education. 98% of those students have used technology as part of their formal education, and this is probably something we already know. And it's good. I think it's good information for us. But now we have some other data that are not so good. Only 57% of them rank their education as good or excellent at preparing them for their future career. So this means that 43% of them think that they are not well prepared for their future career, and this is really a concern. Only 50% want the ability to learn new skills and have new experiences. So we must conclude that the other 50%, 1 out of 2, are not interested in learning new skills and have new experiences. And this is also a concern, and I think we as their educators should take care of this. And finally, 75% expect to learn on the job from coworkers or other people, not online. And this is something, at least for me, very surprising, because we can see today a lot of offerings, online offerings, but 75% of our students are saying that they are not interested in online education. So these are very interesting facts, and we should take care of them, and we should think about what this information means to us and to our educational system. So let's go to this question. We know we are teaching, but are they learning? And let me share with you this cartoon, and probably you may know it because it's very popular. And this kid is telling his friend, "I taught Stripe how to whistle," and his friend says, "I don't hear him whistling," and he said, "I said I taught him. I didn't say he learned it." And this is the case in most cases. I don't mean in most, but in some cases in our own classroom. We are teaching, but we don't really know if they are learning. So now it's a moment in which I will ask you to answer a question. So I beg you please to go to this website, menti.com, menti.com, and use this code and answer the question that you will find there. So please take your smartphones, your notebooks, your computers, go to this website and insert this code 347412 and begin to answer the questions that you will see there. I will wait 1 or 2 minutes, and I will see here how many of you are able to connect to the system and
This is an experiment. Good experiment, Uriel, to
Yes.
try technology. Excellent. Let's give it a
Uh-huh.
try. Come on, guys, everybody, all of you who are there.
That's the idea. That's the
102
idea.
people. 102 people. We want to see 102 responses. Come on, guys.
Well, I'm looking here. The 2, 3.
I got only 3 responses. Yeah, we can see the number of responses. Only 3 have come in.
Krishna, how many people is
102.
connected?
102 are present right now.
Wow, wow. That's amazing.
Come in, everybody. Only 3, 4, 5. Come on. I think they're all, yeah, they'll come in very quickly because they have to get to the website and then put in the code. 6 people. Come on. Yeah, right. Come in. We'll wait. This is the experiment. And all of you can use this website. I think it's a interesting technology to, to be able to connect with people and get responses this way.
Yes, let me tell you that I use this technology in my own classroom with my own students, and it's very helpful because it gives you some immediate feedback, particularly when you have a lot of students in your lecture room, and it's very useful because it allows them to answer anonymously, so they are not ashamed to say anything. So
we got 23. We want to get up to 100, folks. Century. We want a century. Come on, guys. At 26, yeah, that's fasting, picking up. I think people are getting into the website and doing it.
I will wait till we will reach at least 50 answers, and then I will show you.
Okay, good.
I will begin to. I will show you the answers.
31, 32. Come on. Uriel wants 50. 34. Come on. Yeah, 30. Yeah, hurry up. 36. Not bad. 1/3 of them. 38. Yeah, keep going. He wants 50. Getting to close to 50. There we go. Fantastic. Good, guys. Oh my God, we're almost 50 there. Come on. Okay. Uriel, you did it. You did it. My God, I love it.
I think there is a message in the chat.
I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it.
We are slow. Oh, yes. Okay. James,
they are saying that we are not Generation Z. That's
you're
why we're
right.
not fast enough.
You're right. Okay.
That's why we're not that fast. He's saying, James Wilson is saying that. Okay, one more and you're 50. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see the answers. You can continue answering, but we will see. The first question is, are you teaching as you have been taught? And there's a mean here. Half of you, yes, half of you. Well, you can see 11, no, 16, more or less. But it's interesting that a lot of us are teaching as we have been taught. The second question is, are you addressing the characteristic of these students? And more or less the same situation. As you can see here, in some yes, some no. But we need to, in the future, I think the challenge for us is to improve this, to go more to the right side. And finally, have you recently updated your teaching methods? Most of you have. So it's interesting. We recognize that we are not doing it well, but we are trying to improve our methodology. So let's move on to the next slide. And this is another question using the same system. The question is, which of these images best resembles your own classroom? One is the typical classroom, the typical classroom with seats in line, and the professor in the front with the blackboard, and the other one is a completely different classroom with groups, with flexible environments. So you're answering, and I can see your answers.
Already 30 people. This time they're faster. Yes. They got the hang of it. See, practice makes it possible faster.
Again, I will show the results in a minute.
Yeah. Now we got 107 people in the audience. 114 actually, including the panelists. About more than 110. 43. Come on. 50, and Uriel will continue. Go. Come on. 40. Come on. You're stuck in 43. Come on, guys. 45, 47, 45. Okay. 6.
You're a good seller.
7. 8. It's a motivational. 9, 8.
Yes.
48. That's what you need in teachers.
Okay, so let's see the results.
Come on. 50. Yeah. Okay. Go. Uriel, do it.
Yeah, this is what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Show the results.
Most of us are using the usual classroom.
We haven't seen the
And
results. Not seeing the
yeah.
results.
Sorry.
So go. Oh yeah, right. We saw. Yeah. So
Yes,
okay,
yes.
you gave us the
So
results. What do you
and
do?
this is
Yeah. Go ahead.
another challenge. We need to change this. Definitively we need to change this. So thank you for your participation, and we will continue with the presentation. Thank you very much for participating in this interactive part of the presentation. And so we will see here some challenges ahead. First, the institutional challenges. Second, the facilities, and we will speak in the next few minutes about these different challenges. Third, the professors, and finally, and for me at least, the most important part, our students. So let's begin with the first part. We need to update our current conservative institutional practices according to the new internal and external demands. And why I'm showing you these young people with doubts, because they are asking they are asking themselves, should I go to university for 4 years or more and pay a high tuition, or should I take some courses online and get my preparation for my future professional life through this kind of offerings? In some cases, we are seeing that very important companies are not requiring their workers to have a school degree. In some cases, they are asking only for some kind of practical experience. So what I'm saying here is that our institutions need to change. And if our institutions, I mean, if our schools, our universities are not able to change, we will not be relevant anymore. So the first challenge is to change the institutional environment in order to adapt to the requirements of this new generation. Second, we need to transform our classrooms from typical crowded lecture rooms to flexible learning spaces. There are some very good examples. These pictures in the right side of the screen are actual pictures from different institutions in the US and in some other countries. Good examples. You will find good examples, for example, in Aalborg University, in Olin College, in NMIT in the UK, and some other places all over the world. We need to change the environment. We need to change the way in which we teach, and essentially we need to change the way in which our students learn. The third point refers to us, to the professors. We need to learn how to improve our students' learning, applying new methodologies and technologies. And now the doubts comes to us. How can we improve our students' learning? And there are some clues here. We need to use peer learning to allow and to promote the students teaching among themselves. We need to use the flip learning methodology. I don't have time here to explain it in detail, but it's a very important methodology and very effective. So we need to use this methodology. We need to change the way in which we are assessing our students and the way in which we are evaluating them, and try to have less written exams, because these kind of exams essentially are looking for their memory. So we need to use formative assessment. We need to make a continuous assessment. We need to change the way in which we are assessing our students. Also, we need to apply this methodology, which is bring your own device. They are all coming to our classroom with smartphones, with notebooks, with the tablets, a lot of technology, and we need to take advantage of this opportunity that they have this technology, and they are very keen in using this technology, and it might be a very important tool for allowing and for improving their learning. And also project-based learning and problem-based learning, posing real questions to our students and work on about projects and about problems. These are only just some examples, but there are a lot more. And finally, but last but not least, as we used to say, students need to understand and be active participants of these changes. And what I want to say is that they may be your most important allies. They have their inertia, and they tend to do what they were asked to do in the previous years. But as soon as we propose them different ways of learning, you will find that they will help you in doing this change. So count on them as good allies for this change. So some clues to follow up. First, move out from the comfort zone. What does it mean? We are in our comfort zone when we teach using lectures. We are in our comfort zone when we assess using writing exams. And this is what we've been doing for decades. So moving out from these very well-known techniques is moving out from the comfort zone. And this will produce some discomfort. This will produce us to make some mistakes. But so don't be afraid to making mistakes, because it's the way in which we learn. We as humans learn making mistakes. So when we when we explain our students that we are trying new methodologies and that probably we will make some mistakes, we are showing us as real people. And also we have to be aware that our students are able to make mistakes, and don't punish them for doing that. They are learning. So humans, when learn, are making mistakes. So don't be afraid of that. Also pose real problems, not problems that are that students will only find in the book or in the exam. Pose real problems related with their concerns, with the environment, with the helping minorities, and you know, these kind of problems that you may find difficult to relate with engineering issues, but we will surely find ways to connect real problems, real society problems with engineering education. Also, and this is very, very important, promote a student-centered learning. More them, less you. I mean, more students, less you, professor. I think this is really very important, and think about your students need to learn, not about what you are supposed to teach. When you change the question, the result change. When you ask yourself, what do I need to teach? You are thinking about yourself. What you need to think is what our students need to learn, and then your teaching will change. So in the same line, less lecture and more active learnings. I think allowing and promoting the active learning will ensure a better learning, and reduce the number of hours you devote to lecturing. And finally, promote collaborative learning. As I said, this generation is really accustomed to work in communities, to work together, to collaborate. So take advantage of this ability that our students have, and allow and promote collaborative learning. And this is very, very important. The most important skill our students should develop is learn to learn. Why? Because what we are teaching today, probably in the next years, will disappear. And the things that will be developed in the next year are unknown for us. So they will need to learn to learn new things, but by their own. So the most important skill, as I said, and sorry for repeating, but this is very important, is that our students develop the ability to learn to learn. And just ending this presentation, I want to share with you some very good references that can help you. This is a very short presentation, but you might be interested in looking for more information, more in detail information. And the first reference I want to share with you is this book, The Second Machine Age. It's this book. I'm listening some noises. I don't know if everything is working okay. Krishna?
Okay, don't worry. Yeah, we had one microphone was open. Yeah.
Okay. So this book, The Second Machine Age, I really recommend it to you because it will explain to you how our society is, how and also how our students are in this society. Then the second book I will recommend to you is this book, A Whole New Engineer. This is more specifically related with engineering education, and particularly with some very good experiences related with this new kind of education we are looking for. And this is also a very important book. Some of you may already know about this book. This book written by Rich Felder and Rebecca Brent, about teaching and learning STEM. It's a very useful practical guide that give you some concrete ideas about how to change the way in which you teach, and more important, how you change the way in which your students learn. And finally, this book written by Robert Talbert about flip learning. There are a lot of books about flip learning, but this is a very good one, and particularly because this is focus in the higher education sector, and has very concrete ideas and very concrete examples about how to use flip learning in universities, because most of the books out there explaining flip learning are aimed for secondary schools, for high schools, I mean, but this is particularly useful for us, for faculty, for university faculty. So thank you for listening to me, for participating in the interactive part of this presentation. And I guess we have almost 20 minutes for your question, comments, or whatever you want to say.
We have deliberately kept a lot of time for questions, because this is following the pedagogy that Uriel has recommended, that if we just give lecture for the whole 1 hour, you will fall asleep. So we want to encourage interaction from each one of you now for the next 15 minutes. Okay. So,
okay.
I will get the ball started with a few people that are moved to the panelist area. Hans, would you like to make a few comments? And then Ramiro. Hans, Ramiro, can you unmute yourself? Make a few comments from IFI's end. Come in, and then I have a few other people like Veena Kumar, who is our director of our certification program in India, I think, and then we have Rio and Krishna Chaitanya, who are who are part of the IUC teacher certification program. They have been part of it, and then we have James Wilson from UK. Would you like to make a comment, James?
Good morning.
Come in.
Say
James.
something?
Yeah, sure, James, go ahead. Yeah.
No. Oh, this is Ramiro. Sorry.
Ramiro, Ramiro, go ahead. James and Hans and James later. Ramiro, go ahead.
Hello, Ramiro.
Okay. Hey, Uriel. Great talk. I really liked it. Very smooth, to the point. This is something that I think we are aware, but academic institutions are kind of slow in the change. And I think that your idea, or the empowering of students and getting them involved in changing the curriculum, how we can do a better job in teaching and setting the labs, that's something that we followed here at UNM. And this is where we have the Why Lab, the Why Not Lab, which is completely led by students, and faculty are now only advisors. So I think empowering the students and having them become the owners of the program is very, very important, because we can get feedback almost in real time on what needs to be changed from instructors, from TAs, from equipment, from the networking, the tools. So I really like your presentation. You hit it right on the nail on the head. And this is something that we've been following. And of course, working with you has been great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramiro.
Greetings, everybody. This is Hans. I really appreciate your thoughtful presentation. It is challenging the entire profession at a global level. And what you are articulating is done so effectively that I'm sure it will inspire all of those participating. But IFES is deeply committed to create spaces throughout the world. And of course, the most important, largest one this year is in Chennai, India. Let us continue those kinds of conversations and engage actively our students and faculty in a way that we've not in the past. So we have a great opportunity to use the critical questions, issues you're raising, to continue the dialogue this year and the different events and over the next few years. Very, very exciting. Thank you, Uriel.
James, you want to jump in? James from UK. Yeah, go ahead. You've unmuted yourself. Is your audio on? Okay, I want to get a couple of people from India here into the conversation. Veena, you want to just make a quick comment?
Yes.
Hi. Okay, hang on, Veena. James is in. Okay, go ahead. James.
Hi. Yeah, sorry about that. Technology, you know, non-Z, Gen, etc. I've got a few things, but thank you very much. Really enlightening, very interesting. I mean, I would add that this is not new news. This is something that's been going for quite a long time, but I think the powers that be tend to sort of put a cap on this all the time, because there's always this sort of budget constraints, and how beneficial is the use of these new approaches to education has always been an issue. So, you know, I think that's, even though we all have good intentions, we're always going to find that it's where the buck stops, is where it really is the issue, I think, because nowadays worldwide people understand we have to develop and produce innovative practice to support what our students want, to enhance their learning. And sometimes that is limited by the powers that be, I would say, which is something I think we want to think about. How do we persuade them to actually engage in this process? Your review, the results of your review, I thought was quite interesting, with the idea that these so-called Gen students really don't want anything online and actually want to study face-to-face. So, I mean, that to me is a clear indication of, well, one clear thing I was thinking, Gen Z students doesn't necessarily mean, and we use the term digital natives, doesn't actually mean that in actual fact they are digitally native when it comes to learning. They're very good at social media and using their mobile phones, but getting them to work with digital technology in a learning environment, I think you'll find that they may struggle. So it's quite interesting that they've said that we don't want anything online, which sort of supports that ideology that face-to-face is good. So yes, you're quite right. We need to look at how we can change the space that we are delivering our practice, so that it is more innovative and then it's more engaging. And as our predecessor just spoke, I think empowering the students to have a say in this is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you, James. But let me say that we need to. They are very interested in using technology in classroom. So saying that they are not interested in receiving online education, that doesn't mean that they are not interested in using technology in classroom. And using technology in classroom may allow us to change the way in which the activities in the classroom are organized, particularly when you have big lecture rooms, because you may allow them to participate using these kind of tools, and they will. Let me assure you, I am doing this for some years, and students love this kind of using their smartphone for their participation in classroom. They love to do that. So I think this is one thing we need to practice more.
Okay, Veena, brief comments from you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me the opportunity. You're absolutely an amazing presentation, very cogent, very focused, and a very good reminder of what all we need to do. I just have one question, and I'd like to pick your brains on just helping us with the one big problem we have. It's related to the student motivation that you very rightly said, that students need to understand, they need to change, and they need to be more engaged. In India, we have, and currently we're working on this one small research project, is the individual differences are very vast in the student body. And we've already identified something like 8 areas in which include academic preparation and economic strata they come from, the need for a lucrative profession and things like that. What can the institutions and the faculty do to overcome or manage these individual differences? Because one of the hypotheses is that they lose motivation because they think the class, they are not very comfortable in the class because of their own problems, their own differences.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a very good question, and I think the way to deal with this is personalization of education, and
Yes.
and technology has a lot to do with this, and these these new tools related with learning analytics may allow us to help them in the proper way. Some years ago, I went to a conference and a researcher, I don't remember his name, sorry, but he said democracy in education is not giving the same to everyone, but what every students need, and this is a challenge, a real challenge, because this is very difficult. But using technology in the proper way, you may be able to personalize education, and this will allow the students to how can I say, to be targeted with the proper solution. I mean, there's another methodology called education for excellence, and this this methodology propose to allow, and this comes with peer learning. You allow the students that arrive early to the understanding of the topics, to explain those topics to those peers that are that are having more difficulties. So in this way, you empower those students that are able to understand the topic earlier. You empower them by allowing them to explain to their peers, and their peers will understand better listening their own peers rather than listening you, because they are peers and they understand in a different language. So these are, I mean, from the technology side and also from the methodology side, these are two ways to deal with this issue you are posing, just to say it very briefly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Uriel. And then, maybe if you will allow, maybe I can be in contact with you and share what we are doing in this area. And
yes, please.
Get your...
Okay. Julian Yepes, you had a question you want to chat about, speak it out, or should I read it out for you? I've unmuted you, Julian. Then we'll go to Ramakrishna and then Rio. A couple of quick comments from them if Julian is able to unmute. Julian says, what can you say about gamification in higher education?
Yes, well, gamification is a very nice way promote students' participation. But you have to be very careful in planning these kind of activities in order to make it serious in a serious way. But it's very useful, and it's also a very good technique that we can use to engage the students in the classroom.
Rama from the National Academy of Engineering. Are you there, Rama? I've unmuted you. Okay, if not, Rio, jump in for a couple of comments. Anything you want to add, Rio? Rio D'Souza
Yes,
from
Krishna.
India.
Thank you, Krishna. Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good presentation. A very insightful presentation, Uriel. Thank you for that. One of the challenges we have in India is technology. Technology in the classroom, or even outside. You tell your students to maybe participate in a flipped classroom, and they will say, some of them will say, we do not have a device, our own device, or some will say we don't have a stable internet connection. But you did show many methods which did not need high technology, and that was good. So we can always use that for collaborative learning, I feel. Yeah. On the whole, very insightful presentation.
Thank you so much. Rama, are you back? No. Anybody else? Let's see. Dilip, you want to make a comment? Okay, I'm gonna.
This is Dilip. The very good presentation, Uriel. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Some of the things which you mentioned, like redesigning the classroom, it is going to take some capital outlay, and I think that comment was made by James Wilson. So it comes down to convincing the higher leadership to lay out the capital to be able to do that. But other than that, I don't have any comments. Very good presentation.
Elsie, I'm going to let you have a couple of comments here. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation, Uriel. Thank you. And the follow-on questions also. Uriel, you mentioned that one of the issues is for the teachers themselves. And all of us in society now, we're grappling with, we don't know what we don't know about society and where it's going. But in particular, you mentioned that the students are interested in what matters, making a difference in society. What are some ways that engineering teachers can familiarize themselves with the issues that
I'm losing you.
Yeah.
I'm not listening you.
Right. We are able to having a little problem with the connection, maybe. Elsie. Let me read out what she has.
There's a question in the chat.
Is what has been useful to help teachers define the problem the students are interested in exploring, or collaboration with other disciplines such as business and society studies, helpful as engineering teachers themselves to learn what is relevant in the world issues and students. That's the text that she had sent earlier.
Okay, I think the global challenges it's a good it's good information to answer that question. And we have to look at those global challenges and try to relate those global challenges with our own subjects and try to present to the students real problems, real society problems related with those challenges. I think this is the best answer I can give to you to this question.
Okay, Ramakrishna was asking, he was just curious about why only 50% want the ability to learn or to learn new skills. I was trying to get him to talk, but somehow audio didn't work. So that 50% was an interesting number. 50% do not want to learn new skills.
Yes.
Or
I don't know why. This is the result of the survey, but I don't know. I really don't know why. I don't have that answer.
Maybe a more in-depth survey on some of these things might help. But anyway, thank you so much, Uriel. I've just put up on the screen from my own screen the commercial for today. This is for the 9th World Engineering Education Forum 2009, which is going to be held in Chennai. 13th November to 16th November in ITC Grand Chola in Chennai, India, first time in India. And please, all of you try to attend this. The deadline, as you can see on the bottom right, is the deadline for submission of abstracts is June 30th. I just want to make sure that all of you are in tune with that, and we hope to see many of you, come to this event. And I guess with that, we are fine. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. I know some of you had the connection problem, just as I did. I apologize for the first 10 minutes when I was having problems and I had to re-log in and everything, but everything worked out well. And this has been just terrific. And I had a very nice slide prepared to introduce you, but because of the problem with the connection, I was not able to do that. So let me put it up right now and see if I can show you that those two slides I was going to show. This is what Uriel looks like out there, and this is some of the exciting things that he's done in his past. Many things in his past that have given him the experience to share his wisdom with us. So thank you. Adios, sayonara, jeho.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
And as Hans would probably add many more languages, and all the best to everybody. See you in 2 weeks at this time for the next webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Krishna, for facilitating this webinar. And thank you all for